Authorities at the U.S. port of entry at Del Rio, Texas, see hundreds of legal crossings between the United States and Mexico every day. But they also see an average of $250 million in confiscated drugs, all manner of criminal activities, and thousands of illegal immigrants every year. The men and women of U.S. Customs know the threat of danger is always present. Hiding behind a throng of harmless civilians are criminals who view them as the enemy. On the afternoon of January 27th, 1984, a vehicle with Texas plates pulled up to the port's primary checkpoint. Customs Inspector Jose Torres asked the occupants for identification.
¿Qué edad tienes?
The three passengers provided green cards showing they were legal resident aliens allowed to work in the U.S. The driver explained he was an American citizen, but produced only a baptismal certificate as proof. Inspector Torres could not accept it. Logging in the car's license plate, he ordered the driver to a secondary checkpoint for further verification. The vehicle was met by Customs Inspector Richard Latham.
Hello, man. Baptismal certificate? Step out,
a 10-year veteran at the border, it was his job to handle questionable persons or vehicles.
Follow me.
Latham brought the driver inside to speak with an officer of the Immigration and Naturalization Service. The INS officer chastised the driver over his insufficient papers. Since the man claimed he was a U.S. citizen, born and raised in El Paso, the officer interrogated him on details only a resident could know. In minutes, the man's detailed answers persuaded the official that his lack of paperwork was his only indiscretion. The driver was cleared, but Latham still had to inspect the vehicle.
Stand over there. You need to look inside your car.
Following routine procedure, he checked for illegal drugs or undeclared contraband. Since there was nothing suspicious about the men or their behavior, Inspector Latham was alone during the search. To everyone working at the port that day, it seemed like every other day. Then, at about 4:45 in the afternoon, a detective with the Del Rio, Texas police arrived. He informed border officials that a jewelry store had been robbed 15 minutes earlier in the Mexican border town of Ciudad Acuna, 2 miles away. His information was unfortunately sketchy, but he said Mexican police were searching for 4 Hispanic males, at least one of whom could speak English. Police and border officials went immediately to alert each of the inspectors on duty. Since the robbers might try to enter the United States, inspections at the primary checkpoints were doubled.
Good afternoon. How you doing? Where you headed?
Customs officials wanted to be certain that no one connected to the robbery would enter the country.
Got anything to declare? Okay.
But at around 5 o'clock, Inspector Torres received disturbing news.
Sir, I can't find label.
Customs Inspector Richard Latham was missing.
Yes, sir, I checked already once.
Del Rio Detective John Martin was at the port that
But I
day.
will check it again.
For him to just suddenly disappear, we knew something was wrong.
Although the time of the disappearance marked a shift change, Latham had not followed the required protocol for leaving his post.
He had not left in his own vehicle. He had not checked out and told anyone else that he was leaving. And the standard procedure for those inspectors, even if they were rotating off for a coffee break or to go to the restroom, would have been to have notified other inspectors at the port. None of this had occurred.
Their only conclusion was Inspector Latham had been kidnapped.